6.4.1c. Suppose a rectangular plot is to be fenced in, with the fencing on each of the four sides labeled east, west, north, south, costing as follows. North is $3 per foot, south is $2 per foot, east is $1 per foot, west is $2 per foot, and the total area of the plot is to be 7,150 square feet. What is the minimum total cost of such a plot? Notice that we are trying to minimize the cost. This is an optimization problem. Definitely it's going to involve a derivative, right? We want to set up the cost equation and take its derivative to find the minimum. Alright, so this may seem a little silly, but I thought we should draw a rectangle. So I just drew a nice little rectangle for you, and I labeled the sides X and Y. So I drew the X over on the western side, but the length of the eastern side is the same. It's also X. And the Y is the length, that is the southern side. It's also the length of the northern side. Area of a rectangle is length times width, so that's just X times Y. And it told us that that is 7,150. Now keep in mind we are not trying to maximize or minimize the area. That is set at 7,150. Okay, our cost, though, is what we are actually trying to minimize. Cost is $3 per northern section. Well, the northern section is Y units long. So at the Home Depot, when I put up my fencing onto the counter, I'm going to be multiplying that length of fencing by $3 per foot. Then I add to the counter my southern section of fencing, which is $2 per foot. So the cost of that section is 2Y. Then I add in the eastern section at $1 per X, and the western section, which is $2 per X. So all of these things are being added together. And you can add your like terms and get 5Y plus 3X. We're going to need to get that in terms of one variable so that we can actually take a derivative, set that derivative to 0, and so on. That's where the area comes in. So let's go back to our area equation. A equals XY equals 7,150. I'm going to use this area equation to get the cost equation in terms of one variable. So using that the area, xy, equals 7,150, I solved for y equals. I divided the x to the right side, and I got that y is 7,150 over x. Now I'm going to plug that into the cost in place of the y. So go back up to your 5y plus 3x, and in place of y, I'm going to put 7,150 over x. So now I have that my cost is 5 times, and in place of y I put 7,150 over x, and then plus 3x. Now I just see one variable. I'm going to work with this just a little bit more and simplify it so that it's easier to take the derivative, but this is the big important step, is to get that in terms of one variable. Okay, so that is 35,750 over x plus 3x. And when I take the derivative, I don't like to see that fraction, right? So I'm going to rewrite this as 35,750 x to the negative 1 plus 3x. Now we're ready to take a derivative. We've got it in terms of one variable. It's written so we can use our power rule, and then we'll take that derivative, set it equal to 0. Okay, the derivative of the cost is I pull the -1 down in front and multiply it by the 35,750, and then I reduce the power by 1. That's what the power rule said to do. I get -35,750 x to the -2, and then 3x, the derivative is 3. We set that equal to 0, and I rewrote it before I set it equal to 0. I put the x to the -2 back into the denominator as an x to the +2, and we get 35,750 over x squared equals 3. If we multiply the x squared to the right side, you'll have 35,750 equals 3x squared. Next, divide by 3. 35,750 over 3 equals x squared. And then we take a square root. And I got x to be 109.16. And you can double check my calculations if you'd like. I would encourage you to. I tend to just use Excel as my calculator. In fact, you'll see it in the back here. Okay, the question did not ask me what are the dimensions. It asked me what is the minimum cost. So after I find this value that gives me the minimum cost, I'm actually going to have to plug it in to find the cost. Okay, cost was up here. This is our cost equation. That's what I want to plug it into. Okay, so I want to do 35,750 divided by 109.16 and then plus 3 times 109.16. Okay, if I do that, I get 654.98. And 654.98 is between, if you look at all your choices, it's not between 910 and 920, it's between 650 and 660, so that is choice B. Okay, so just to show you that again, I did 35,750 over 109.16 plus 3 times 109.16, and that gave me choice B. Now I'm going to go check that.